Morning everybody, it's Nick. A few thoughts, actually lots of thoughts on the menopause. And actually it's much wider than the menopause. It's life, it's being a middle-aged woman, it's the narrative around aging, it's some of the, pants role models we're given, the culture, the lifestyle. There's a whole host of things in there, loads of dots. So yeah, bear with. And all of this was triggered from one comment on one of my videos yesterday, which was by a lovely soul, and I really felt, yeah, I really felt, I'm trying to think of the word, because I don't think it's, I want to say I really felt her pain. I'm not sure pain's the right word, but honestly, I can't think of a better one. But the comment was, I'm tired of feeling tired all the time. Now that's a seemingly innocuous, quite innocent comment, isn't it? But it really resonated really deeply to me. And also, just to point out, I do get a lot of comments on these vlogs. So thank you so much for anybody that watches them. And I really do hope they help and can present a more realistic and accessible view of life as a middle-aged woman in our world today, rather than some optical illusion which makes us feel shit and inadequate, and that we're not rocking it or doing all of these things which actually aren't realistic. You know, that's not what it's about. But I do read the comments, and I don't always respond. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Not because I don't care, not because I don't read them, but just because I try and get some balance, and I actually only have so much energy and so many hours in the day. And I think the most important thing is just to try and put authentic stuff out there with genuine intent. But if I get embroiled in, social media and stuff all day long, I find it really does actually impact my mental health. So I do need just to have that balance. But anyway, the thoughts I got this morning was, I get really riled actually. So I'm tired of being tired, and I really get that, particularly as I've got up today, and it may be because my routine's been taken away. It's a strike day, so 2 out of my 3 kids aren't at school, and it has been, for me, it's been quite a busy week. And a couple of things. One is I've woken up, and because I haven't had to get out of bed and enter into a military type routine, it's been really quite lovely, because I'm sat here in my lovely little space. And I'm actually reading Animal Farm. I remember reading Animal Farm when I was doing my GCSE English at school. Oh, I loved it. And I've started reading it again. I love it just as much. And I just wanted to refresh myself. And sometimes the old classics are the best. But anyway. And I realised as I sat here, God, I'm really tired again. I'm really tired. And that comment of I'm tired of being tired, I really get it. And then it makes me think, what's going on here? Have we got the narrative right? Are we talking to ourselves right? Why are we so tired? And lots of things came to my mind. So first of all, shouldn't be a witch hunt, should it? But I am triggered, actually, when I watch. So I don't really watch McCall very much, because she really triggers me. And on one hand, I think it's fantastic, anything that's done to raise awareness about the menopause. But on the other hand, there's a flip side to that, is if you're raising reality about the menopause in a way that's not that realistic for a lot of menopausal women, then it worries me about the impact that has. So I don't think, having a fitness level, the level of fitness she has, she probably go off and do an Iron person or whatever it's called, extreme marathon or something like that, is accessible to us. When I look at a lot of the women our age, like, the Nicole Kidmans, and I can't even look at Victoria Beckham anymore, because she's clearly put so much stuff in her lips. I'm just like, all I can see is like a cartoon character of these pouts. And that isn't meant in a bitchy way, but it does trigger me. And the reason it triggers me is, I think if you are role modelling and you are playing a part in our society that says you've got a responsibility, you've been blessed, you've been given a very blessed life, and you've got a responsibility of how you use that fame and that influence, and some people do it really well, and some people trigger me, and the people that trigger me are people who don't set realistic expectations. And perhaps who aren't telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth about how they get this, you know, beautiful body and, you know, all the rest of it, you know, Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop and all of that. Yes, it's all wonderful, but it's not accessible to us mere mortals. I haven't got hours a day to exercise or to cook specialist food. I haven't got the funds to buy some of this stuff. You know, I don't have a stylist. I'm my own stylist. And actually, I don't want to look like that, you know, biologically, as we get older. And I don't want to fight aging. Actually, I don't think fighting aging does us any favours. It's energy that I just don't have that needs to be used elsewhere. I'm really happy to wear my reading glasses and, you know, have my grey hairs that, you know, I enjoy colouring because I like colour. So, you know, if I wanted grey hair, I'd have grey hair. I don't colour it because I'm worried about grey hair. I colour it because I like colour. I am a lot bigger. You know, I'm 15 stone. I mean, I've never particularly been a small girl, but I'm 15 stone. I'm not embarrassed about that. You know, I still wear clothes that make me stand out in a crowd because I'm really creative and I love clothes and I love fashion and all of that jazz. You know, with my HRT supplements, I mean, my boobs never really went down after I had kids. So I wasn't somebody who had particularly large boobs. Not that this vlog was meant to be about my boobs, but anyway, let's put it out there because it is part of the menopause. I never had particularly large boobs before I had kids. I was a, you know, classic C, very average girl. After I had kids, I had bloody enormous boobs because I had bloody enormous babies. And they never really went down. And then because I have estrogen gel, and I do have a coil, but I also take estrogen, which is a progesterone type HRT. And that does a few things. One is it gives you some protection. Because I haven't had a hysterectomy and I've still got a womb, and I take estrogen gel. But it also helps with our sex drive. Now, part of helping with our sex drive means that it helps with all things feminine. And it, you know, it helps us maintain that feeling of being feminine, which actually means you get really big boobs. So I'm now between a double G and H. And, you know, I'm not fazed by that. You know, I just go to a really fantastic local bra fitting service. I buy the beautiful bras. You know, I think they're really beautiful, and I do wear the big knickers and all the rest of it, and you know, you can rock it. You know, you can make it look like a beautiful 1950s underwear outfit. You know, we don't have to be caught in this cycle of always having to look like we did when we were 20 and 30s, because there were so many role models out there that actually, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, are constantly sending messages saying, it's not okay to look like you're in your 50s. It is fucking okay. It is. And being in your 50s can look like this. I'm in my 90. I haven't got any makeup on. I'm 15 stone and I'm okay with it. And I think the narrative around looking after ourselves, we shouldn't be exercising to lose bloody weight. We should be exercising for our health, for our mental well-being, for our sense of achievement with ourselves, for our self-esteem, to cope with our anxiety, whatever. We should be exercising for really deep and meaningful reasons that fundamentally change the quality of our life. Now, if weight is impacting on our health and the quality of our life, then fine. But it shouldn't be for some, you know, vanity-driven thing. And that is drilled into us so much. And it does wind me up. And the other thing that I do get triggered by, again, it came up on my Facebook, actually. I think, you know, obviously there's a gremlin that can read my mind. And I decided to put Davina McCall in my feed because it does trigger me. And, you know, you can pay to access some course or something she's doing, you know, for menopausal women, and how you too can look like me. But I'm thinking, that's making money out of fundamentally vulnerable women. You know, there's a lot of women out there that don't get don't have the opportunity to access a lot of the medical and specialist support that is required, and that perhaps, you know, don't live in such a psychologically safe world as, say, somebody like me who's basically free to spout off whatever I want, really. Well, within reason, I guess. And there's something about it that just doesn't sit well with me at all. I'm not comfortable with making money out of vulnerable people and presenting some kind of optical illusion, which I'm not sure is achievable. And I think that feeds a false narrative. So thank God for people like, you know, Meryl Streep and Andy McDowell, who I just love, because they really They are doing so much for setting a beautiful role model for ageing women in this society, which is about accessing and embracing being an older woman, and the wisdom and the experience and the peace that that should actually bring to us. And, you know, this whole comment of I'm tired of being tired, that just set off an avalanche of thoughts this morning. And you know what, I get it. And I do look at some people and I just don't know how they work the hours they do. You know, I'm a big advocate of the afternoon nap, you know, 15, 20 minutes power nap just to kind of reset the batteries. I'm not sure it's... So, you know, is it that we're unnaturally tired, or is it that our bodies are actually talking to us and trying to tell us something really important? You know, maybe going at 1,000,000 miles an hour for 12, 14 hours a day just isn't natural. It's not, you know, maybe our bodies are saying, look, you know, stop. You're just not living in, we're not in sync. It's too much for me. You know, maybe rather than the narrative saying there's something wrong with us, blah, 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 maybe it's like, well, hang on, our bodies are talking to us. Our bodies are constantly talking to us. And I think we've got, let's go through it, 2 or 3 things that shut out and stop us listening to our bodies. One is the narrative that says, but look, you live fundamentally in a productive society. Be productive for as long as you can. You know, stay young for as long as you can. Be as fit as you can. You know, get out there and knacker your hips and back and, you know, run 20 miles or whatever it is. Which is great if you want to run 20 miles and your body's used to it, but it's not so great if it's not. So it's a very, very go, 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 productive kind of being busy's good. Action's good. That's around us all the time, and we're fighting prejudice and, you know, at times discrimination, unconscious bias and judgment all around that narrative. Actually, inaction can be much more important than action. Taking a rest when we need to is hugely important. Taking time out, doing absolutely nothing. You know, the research has shown that it's really important that we get bored. It's really, really important that we empty stuff, that we have mental rest, that we have emotional rest. So I think there's that narrative that goes on, and it's really hard when you live in that world. It's the same as the fact that we live in a world where we're fundamentally surrounded a lot of the time by really not very healthy food. So I do try as a family for us to eat quite well, but it's really bloody expensive. And I don't think it's okay that it costs a lot more money to eat well, to eat fresh fruit, to eat fresh vegetables and so forth, than it does to buy cheap processed crap. So we also live in a world where it's actually really difficult to eat healthily. It is really difficult, and we are surrounded constantly, all the time, by a lot of shit. I mean, you know, if you go and buy yourself a lunch from somewhere, you try and buy something that's actually really healthy for a reasonable price. It is not easy. So I think that's going on as well. And then I think we've got the whole narrative about what we're meant to be, and that, you know, oh, you're menopausal, and the negative connotations around that, as opposed to, oh, you're menopausal, how wonderful. So, you know, that's a really interesting phase of life you're going into. You know, oh my goodness, you must have so much experience. You must have so much to share. And it's okay. You know, yeah, of course you need to take your power nap. Of course, you know, you want to do this kind of exercise rather than, you know, it's a very different way of looking at it. And so we've got all of these things going on, and then we wonder why we get tired. Of course we get bloody tired. Every which way we turn, I'm not sure we're embracing and looking and being taught to listen to our bodies. We're surrounded by hustle and bustle and things that go against the grain of effectively what the crone phase means for women. You know, even women themselves, you know, constantly say to me, I don't like that. I don't like the word, the crone phase. And I'm like, well, it's just a word. What you don't like are the associations, the connotations that go with it, which we have created as a society. They don't have to be real. Bring it on. I'm really happy to be a crone. I'm really happy to have an afternoon nap. I'm really happy to go for a walk rather than a run because it's kinder to my body. I'm really happy to buy the next size clothes and be comfortable. I'm really happy to, you know, perhaps wear a lower high heel than I used to. It doesn't mean that I didn't love or doing all of that stuff. It just means that it's okay to change. It's okay to move with the flow. And I think the most beautiful women are the women that accept themselves and go with the flow and age and are kind to themselves and therefore can be kind to others. And I think that beauty stands out. And no amount of styling and diets and beating ourselves up can kind of give us that inner peace. So I'm not really quite sure if there's a point to this vlog. I think I'm having a bit of a rant this morning, just thinking about this whole middle-aged menopausal lark and the narrative that sits around it. And it's okay if you're tired, take a rest. There's no bloody wonder we're tired. And it's okay to be menopausal, and it's okay to be middle-aged, and it's okay to embrace all of that, and it's okay to challenge and to change the way that that is perceived. You know, we can do this. We can make where we are in our lives at this point in time, we can make it somewhere where we can be content and we can embrace it and we can enjoy it and we can make it work for us. That's quite a lot, isn't it? I will go because this is a very long vlog, which most people probably won't get to the end of. Okay, I hope that helps somebody today. Sending much love to all. Thank you.